Title: The Man Who Single-Handedly Saved the World and Got Reprimanded for It. Description: September 26, 1983. In a secret Soviet bunker, one man held the fate of the world in his hands. This is the incredible true story of Stanislav Petrov, the officer who disobeyed orders and prevented a nuclear apocalypse triggered by a computer glitch. A story of unimaginable pressure, human intuition versus machine logic, and the terrifying fragility of our world. 0 o'clock, September 1983. The world is a powder keg. Just 3 weeks earlier, a Soviet fighter jet shot down Korean Airlines Flight 007, killing all 269 people on board, including a US congressman. The Cold War is at its absolute icy. In the United States, President Reagan has just labeled the Soviet Union the evil empire. And in Moscow, KGB intelligence has issued a dire warning. America is preparing a surprise nuclear attack. Fear and paranoia grip both superpowers. This is the world on the brink of annihilation, and in a secret bunker south of Moscow, one man's shift is about to begin. His name is Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov. He's not a frontline soldier, but a 44-year-old officer of the Soviet Air Defense Forces. His battlefield is a room filled with flickering screens and humming computers. Serpakov Lima Blas, the command center for the Soviet Union's early warning satellite system, codenamed Oko Russian Forai. His job is to monitor these satellites, and, in the event of a nuclear launch from the United States, to alert his superiors. This would trigger the protocol for a massive, retaliatory Soviet strike, a decision that, once made, could not be undone. 2 o'clock, it's just past midnight, on September 26th. The night shift is usually quiet, a monotonous routine of system checks, but tonight is different. Suddenly, a deafening alarm blares through the bunker. A massive screen flashes the word launch in bold, red letters. The system is reporting a missile launch from an American base. One missile, a Minuteman intercontinental ballistic missile, heading straight for the Soviet Union. Every light on the console is flashing. Every horn is blaring. Every protocol, every drill, every nightmare has just become a terrifying reality. 3 o'clock. Before Petrov can even process the shock, the system updates. A second missile launch is detected. Then a third, a fourth, and a fifth. 5 nuclear missiles are now screaming across the atmosphere, on a direct path to Moscow. The computer's confidence level is at its highest possible setting. Missile strike. The electronic map shows their trajectory. The path to Armageddon is lit up in front of his eyes. His duty is clear and unambiguous. He has mere minutes to verify the launch and pass the information up the chain of command. From there, the decision to launch a counterstrike would take only a few more minutes. The fate of hundreds of millions of people rests on his next move. 4-0. The tension in the room is suffocating. His subordinates are staring at him, frozen, waiting for his command. Petrov later described the feeling as if he were sitting on a hot frying pan. Every instinct, every fiber of his training, is screaming at him to follow the protocol. He picks up the phone to his superiors, but he hesitates. Something feels wrong. A thought, a tiny seed of doubt, plants itself in his mind. If the Americans were to start a nuclear war, would they really begin with just 5 missiles? A first strike would be designed to be overwhelming, a massive, all-out assault with hundreds, even thousands of missiles, to cripple the Soviet ability to retaliate. 5 missiles seemed illogical. It was a drop in the ocean. 5-0. Oh, this was the critical moment. The computer, a supposedly infallible system, was screaming that the attack was real. His own military protocol demanded he report it as such. But his gut, his human intuition, told him otherwise. He had 2 phones in front of him, one connected to his superiors to report the incoming strike, the other connected to the system technicians to report a malfunction. The world held its breath in these few seconds of silence, a silence broken only by the piercing alarms. He knew that if he was wrong, and the missiles were real, the first detonations would vaporize Moscow in about 20 minutes. The failure to report it would be his ultimate and final failure. 6 o'clock, with the weight of the world on his shoulders, Petrov makes a decision. He ignores the blaring sirens and the flashing red screens. He picks up the phone to his duty officer and reports the impossible. He tells them that the alarm is false. He reports a system malfunction. The officer on the other end is incredulous. "Are you sure?" Petrov holds his ground. He claims the system is faulty. This goes against everything the system was designed for. He's betting the life of his family, his country, and the entire world on a hunch. He is choosing to trust his own judgment over the billion-dollar machine in front of him. 7 o'clock. Now came the longest 20 minutes of his life. He had reported a malfunction, but the red lights were still flashing. The screen still read launch. The system was still tracking 5 incoming nuclear warheads. He and his team could only wait. They stared at the clock, counting down the minutes to the predicted impact. If he was wrong, the first sign would be a blinding flash of light, followed by the complete annihilation of everything they knew. Every second stretched into an eternity. The atmosphere in the bunker was thick with a dread so profound it was almost physical. He tried to remain calm, to reassure his terrified team. But inside, his own heart was pounding. 8:00. The estimated time of impact arrived, and then it passed. There was no blinding flash, no seismic shockwave, only silence. The alarms eventually ceased. The red lights went dark. The world outside was just as it had been 20 minutes earlier. Moscow was still standing. The sun was beginning to rise. The missiles were never there. Stanislav Petrov had been right. His gut feeling had saved the world from a nuclear holocaust. 9:00. So what happened? How could a state-of-the-art satellite system make such a catastrophic error? An investigation later revealed a bizarre and terrifyingly simple cause. The Oko satellites had a very specific orbital path. On that particular night, in a rare alignment, the sun, the satellites, and high-altitude clouds over North Dakota lined up perfectly. The sunlight reflecting off the tops of these clouds mimicked the intense infrared signature of a missile engine plume at launch. The computer, programmed to look for just such a signature, interpreted the reflected sunlight as 5 separate missile launches. It was a cosmic fluke, a 1 in a billion alignment that almost ended civilization. 10:00. You might think Stanislav Petrov would be celebrated as a hero, but this is the Soviet Union. His actions, while correct, had revealed a critical flaw in their multi-billion ruble defense system. He had disobeyed direct protocol. Instead of a medal, he received a reprimand for not correctly filling out the logbook during the crisis. He was eventually sidelined and took early retirement, living in relative obscurity for years. The incident itself was classified top secret and remained unknown to the public for over a decade. It was only after the fall of the Soviet Union that his story slowly came to light. Petrov himself never saw his actions as heroic. He simply sighed. I was just at the right place at the right time. 11 o'clock. Stanislav Petrov passed away in 2017. He received numerous international awards late in his life, recognizing that his calm, human judgment prevented an unimaginable disaster. His story is a chilling reminder of how close we came to the brink. It highlights the profound dangers of relying too heavily on automated systems for decisions of life and death, especially when the stakes are planetary. In an age of artificial intelligence and automated warfare, the lesson of Stanislav Petrov is more important than ever. Sometimes, the most critical component in the machine is the human who knows when to question it. 12 o'clock, the world owes an unpayable debt to a man who, on one terrifying night, was faced with an impossible choice and chose humanity over the machine. He chose to trust his gut instead of his orders, and because of that, we are all here today. His story is not just a piece of Cold War history. It's a timeless lesson in courage, responsibility, and the quiet power of a single individual to change the course of the world. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as incredible as we did, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more hidden histories that shaped our world. Stay curious.